Gang violence has been a menace across generations. They commit all kinds of crimes, including drug trafficking, robberies, physical violence, and even murder. Gangs exist in every major city. There's the mafia, the narcos, street gangs, and even prison or vigilante gangs. But then it's not so easy to get away with such heinous crimes. Law enforcement cracks down hard on them. Let's take a look at the 6 craziest gang members' reactions to the life sentence. First up, the cold-blooded murderer who hacked his own daughter to death. Ronnie O'Neal was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences plus 90 years for killing his girlfriend and their 9-year-old daughter.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Mr. O'Neal.
All right.
Listen, stop.
All right.
Listen to me.
I'm not
You're not going to raise your voice again.
I'm not going to raise my voice again. I'm not.
I will have you removed from this courtroom. I can sentence you without you being present.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't conduct
I
yourself.
understand, Your Honor.
Thank you.
The child was born with severe disabilities and couldn't speak or walk. As Judge Michelle Cisco handed down the sentence, the brutal murderer had some bizarre things to say. He even had the audacity to blame Barron for the murders.
I did kill Kenyatta Barron.
After the judge scolded him, he did say that he was sorry for what happened, but then he followed it up with an accusation that everyone was just pointing fingers at him without even knowing the facts.
You will know the truth, whether in this trial or the next one.
The judge even pointed out that this was the worst case she had seen in her 19-year career.
This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go. Because there is no way any person with any feeling could have witnessed or seen the photos of what occurred that night and not be haunted for the rest of your life.
And not just for the brutality, but also for the way this man made a mockery of the justice system by representing himself. Up next, it's the poker-faced pair of brothers who mercilessly killed a teenager in Los Angeles. The Carpio Brothers were found guilty of the second-degree murder of Kevin Oriana by Judge Martin Hershkovitz. And as their sentence of 16 years to life was read out to them, they sat there completely silent and expressionless. These boys were looking at life without parole, and they just sat there, not even looking at each other, they just stared straight ahead. Talk about crazy and cold-blooded. Kevin Oriana was stabbed to death on April 24th, 2013 in Reseda, according to Los Angeles County Coroner's records. He was an adult school student at the West Valley Occupational Center in Woodland Hills. Coming up, is Abel Gallegos, the man who murdered and mutilated Simone Duran. The gang member punished the 28-year-old mother of 2 by first kidnapping her and then shooting her 10 times as she begged for her life. And once that was done, he set her body on fire. The Jefferson County District Court Judge Philip McNulty sentenced him to life in prison without any possibility of parole. The judge was so angry that he gave him an additional 163 years on top of a life sentence just to make a point about the depravity of the crime.
The casualness in which it was committed, the absolute disregard for human life.
Gallegos remained silent and stood there defiantly, dressed in an all-black and white tie as the sentence was read out to him.
Judge Philip McNulty went back and forth on letting cameras inside the sentencing. He decided to grant Fox 31 access because he wants to send a strong message to gang members.
This is the result. This is where you will end up. With your family and friends crying as you're let out of the courtroom to serve the rest of your life in prison.
He showed little remorse and didn't seem very disturbed at all, although he did show some anger as he was being taken away from the courthouse. The kind of cold response to a sentence that basically means he'll never be a free man again only shows how heinous of a criminal he was. Jalil Smith Riley, the killer who broke down as he was sentenced to life without parole. The 23-year-old pled guilty to aggravated murder and attempted murder. He even decided to withdraw his plea against the advice of the attorneys. Before the sentence was announced, the victim's family made an emotional plea. They recounted just how special the victim Portia Brooks was and how difficult it was for them to get through life without her every single day.
As you can see, I get nothing back except the reality that she is gone.
Her mother and sister spoke in court. Riley had murdered Portia Lynn Brooks and injured Aaron Martin as he tried to rob them in 2013. Smith Riley forced Martin out of the passenger side and went through his pockets before shooting him in the head. He then reached inside the car and shot Brooks as well.
Sorry. Go back away. I'm so sorry. This is what I'm coming over.
Four defendants serve a term of life without parole. As to count 4, for the offense of attempted murder.
Let's not forget the La Habra gang member who apologized to his victim's family. But to be honest, this sounds like there's at least some decency left in the world, because the 3 cases before this one had no remorse at all. David Parga apologized to the family of the man he murdered at a Halloween party in 2005. He turned in his chair in the courtroom to face them before saying sorry to Leyland Washington's father, mother, brother, and sister.
Brian, I am deeply sorry for what happened to him.
Leyland Washington was a student at Cal State Fullerton, where he was about to graduate with a double degree in business and accounting. He was shot for no reason by the gangster as he stood outside the party in La Habra. The sentence for Parga came some 9 years after the murder. He received 50 years to life. The murderer was also acting as his own attorney. What's even more surprising is that he directed most of the statement toward the victim's mother. He said that it was because she showed him no animosity. He went on to say that he understood her pain because his own mother would cry when she came to visit him in prison.
I want to say sorry to what happened to your son. I know the pain you're feeling. My mom comes to see me and she cries because what's happening to me.
Up next, Justin Jarman wants to set an example for other young kids. Thankfully, he wants to set an example in a good way, starting with other young people in prison and trying to make them understand that a life of crime just wasn't worth it. The gang member pointed out that he felt really lost at that point in his life and how he was trying to be something that he really wasn't. This was during his sentencing in court. He even said that if he could go back in time, he would put down the gun and turn to books and education instead.
And if I could one, I'll put down the gun and pick up a book. And I hurt 2 little girls, so I deserve to be punished. And their family gotta live with the pain forever that I caused. I wish I could rewind, but I can't. I just gotta stay strong for my family.
Jarman said he regretted living a life of crime since the young age of 13. That's a wrap for this video. Which one of these gang members had the craziest reaction to their sentencing? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.